Hey everyone, Austin here again with another quick play. Today we'll be rolling through Battletoads for the NES. Yes, Battletoads. This is a game I have covered probably a dozen times now on my channel over the years. And honestly, I'm out of content right now. I don't have anything prepared, and it's time to record some more videos, but I haven't really thought that far ahead. So I decided, let's go ahead and just fire up some games I'm already comfortable with, and see what we can do with them in terms of the quick play format. So here we have Battletoads. I actually am rusty. I haven't played this game in a little while, but I have beaten this game so many times, I feel like I can just jump right in and get through the game without too much trouble. I guarantee we will die a bunch of times, but I think I'm going to try to go through the entire game, so I'll have lots of opportunities to earn extra lives. You can earn up to 9 extra lives just from score, and then there's a bunch of extra lives dispersed throughout the various levels and whatnot, interspersed. So yeah, we're going to try to go through this game. I don't predict we'll have too many issues, but, I am rusty, so maybe I'll end up sucking horribly at this game, but we shall see. So for anybody new to my channel, this is my quick play series, which it was supposed to be a temporary series where I just fire up a game and play it and see what we can do, but it's kind of turned into my main format now because I'm lazy and I don't think that far ahead. This aside from my live stream format. So yeah, this is a casual video. I'm just going to talk over it as I play live on the spot, and we will see what we can do. So if you like that sort of thing, feel free to kick back, relax, and stick around with me as we try to play through Battletoads here. One of my favorite games on the NES, probably one of my favorite games of all time, honestly. So let's go ahead and hit that start button and just jump right into it. And we're going to skip through whatever cinematics there are, in between intermission sequences and stuff like that. But yeah, we basically drop down to our first planet here, and we can kill some enemies. Now, the biggest move you're going to see me doing over the course of this playthrough is using the headbutt. So you can actually run in this game by double tapping the D-pad in either left or right directions. And yeah, the headbutt is insanely useful. If you time it just right, it overrides just about everything in this game. It has insane priority, and you really want to get used to using that attack. Now, I do have a stick from one of these enemies. I can actually use that to smack guys around, but it actually comes out a little bit slower. I'd rather just headbutt these enemies. So, the stick is a novel idea. It was really fun back in the day, but ultimately, you're probably going to want to just headbutt as much as you can. Now, each toad that you play as, your toads actually have these, sort of final attacks, or these smash attacks, whatever you want to call them. I think there is an actual, proper term for it in the instruction manual, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. And if you have an enemy on the ground, or if you're doing just a simple punch combo, your toad will do a sort of smash attack at the end of it. These flies here can actually give you some blocks of health back. Each fly is 1 block of health. You notice that in the top left, you've got 6 blocks of health. Enemies will kill you insanely fast in this game, so don't get used to having a large health bar. Don't get too used to having 6 blocks of health. They don't really mean a whole lot. And there are a lot of enemies in this game that will get you into a combo and pretty much just kill you instantly, regardless of how much health you actually have. So here's our first boss. This is a really creative boss fight. I've always really enjoyed this. It's sort of a simple effect. It changes the screen red and overlays these items, these boss objects, to make it look like you're seeing it from the boss's perspective, but you're really not. It's just a couple things overlaid on top of the screen. It's such a good effect and a great example of just, Rare's creativity from back in the day. Rare was an amazing studio back then, and they're still pretty decent now, although they don't do nearly as much as they used to, unfortunately. Now they're owned by Microsoft. But yeah, there's a lot of creative, visual flair in this game, and Rare was really good with that. Battletoads isn't their only game that looks fantastic and has a lot of visual creativity. But yeah, this is our second level. You're basically attached to this rope. These big crows with the big beaks, they can actually snip your ropes. You have to be really careful about that. One of your goals on this area, though, is to constantly bash these crows as they fall down. If you can combo them enough, you'll actually earn yourself an extra life. Now, I'm actually really terrible at comboing these guys. My priority is not getting snipped. Again, if I get snipped, I die instantly. I just fall down. These guys, I like to just hug one of the walls. You turn into a battering ram, and then you can kill them instantly. Whoops. mistimed that. You can move yourself up and down as you're charging up. Now, Battletoads is one of those memorization-heavy games, and it's so memorization-based, you can actually get into a really good rhythm as you're going down this shaft. So you can basically prepare your battering ram, or wrecking ball, and then just unleash it the second those guys come out. You can basically predict your movement and just, bam, hit them like right as they appear. So Battletoads is actually quite a difficult game. It's notoriously difficult, mainly because of its memorization-based nature. And every level is very different from the previous. There are very few levels in this game that feel the same as one that came prior. Now, I'd really love to be juggling these crows, but it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't think I'm going to need to juggle them. But boom, just like that, slam into those guys. Very satisfying. Even though I'm rusty at this game, I'm actually doing pretty well right now. But I'm actually kind of excited to actually be playing some video games right now, because I have actually just gotten off work. I've been working all day. And so this is kind of like my reward for having a busy day's worth of work. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to juggle this guy completely. Oh, I missed him. Now, even if you don't get the complete juggle, you do get a lot of points from those guys. And you'll notice that we're almost at 200,000 points. Every 100,000 points is a 1-up. If you're trying to learn this game for the first time, I highly recommend trying to go through the entire game in one swoop, if you can, if you're trying to learn it. There are warp zones in this game, and I actually had triggered one on the very first level. If you kill those first two enemies on the very first level almost instantly with the headbutt, you will actually be able to trigger that warp zone. You basically just walk right into it, and then you end up warping a couple levels ahead. You'll actually warp to this level, which is the turbo tunnel. So if you're trying to maximize points, you're best off just smacking these guys with your foot. You'll get a couple thousand extra points. Go ahead and get some health back. Those little Space Invaders enemies, they actually deplete your health. They grab onto one of your health blocks, and so you need to destroy them and then grab the health block that comes out of them. There's that headbutt in action. So you can either smack them, or you can just do a double tap and then a kick, and you'll just actually knock them off the screen in one swoop. Let's see if we can do the Superman trick. Ooh, oh, I messed it up. So if you jump at just the right time, moving into the turbo tunnel bike, you'll actually fly off the screen. It's really fun. You can do that with the surfboards later on in the game as well. There's a lot of like really simple, like fun things you can do in this game. Alright, so the Turbo Tunnel is the first level in the game that a lot of people complain about in terms of difficulty, but it's honestly, it's not that bad. It's just about reaction, a little bit of memorization, and then reaction. And, well, I should say a lot of memorization. I mean, all of Battletoads is memorization. So if you struggle with the memorization aspect, you're probably not going to get very far in this game. You have to be able to memorize what you're doing. And that comes through repeated plays. It also comes from really thinking about what you're doing, which that's not a mindset that everybody's in when they play these retro games. Also, if you're playing via like a modern compilation, like Rare Replay or something like that, or you're using a software emulator on a PC or some other device, you're likely to experience a little bit of input latency, which is going to make this a lot harder than it needs to be. I am using a HD-based device here. It's a FPGA console that replicates the NES hardware, and it's by Retro USB. It's called the AVS. It's been out since 2016, and what's great about the AVS is that the input lag is pretty much negligible at best. There's basically no perceptible input lag, as far as I can tell. Granted, I am running this on a very low latency device, very low latency screen, so this console, combined with that, I've never had an issue with input lag on this thing. Even like the hardest parts of Adventure Island, the hardest parts of Battletoads, I have never struggled with it on this console. So, but if you're using a software-based emulator, you likely will experience some input lag, which is going to affect your performance on a level like this. You do need really sharp performance, and this is the part that always gets everybody. It's just up, down, up, down, up, down. There was also a warp zone there. I think it's the 9th or 10th block. And so that's a good cop-out, actually. If you're you're really struggling with the end part, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I think it's number 10 is the warp zone. So, And from that warp zone, you'll go straight to the snake pit, I think. Either that or it's the water rapids. I don't remember. I don't take the warp zones as much as I used to. Ever since I've learned how to beat Battletoads, I usually try to play through the whole game, unless I'm doing some kind of variety stream here on YouTube. We're gonna go ahead and just skip past these snowmen. This is like a nice little speedrun technique. Speedruns will actually help you a lot on a game like this. To learn strategies to make parts easier. Not necessarily glitching the game out, but just making your life a little bit easier, you know? Just thinking of different strategies to get through the various sections. Snowballs here, we just have to constantly jump over. And this is all a part of, like, the memorization game. You're just, you know, through repeated plays, you learn little tricks and techniques that help you get through sections a lot safer. Now you'll notice that there are actually slopes here, and your toads do actually slide down them, and there are ice physics on this level too, which makes things a little tricky. I know a lot of you guys have trouble with ice physics. Now I can actually, boom, hit this over there. The normal strategy is to just let these snowballs do their thing. So you just come on over here. And we'll go ahead and just do it this way. It's a little bit safer. Okay, there's going to be a checkpoint here. Some levels like this actually have sort of invisible checkpoints. And we need to jump over here. You can do little baby jumps in this game. So you have variable jump height, as I like to call it. I'm going to go ahead and headbutt that guy. We're going to duck this one, and then jump up here, and then duck it again. Jump up here. Nice and slow. Gonna wait for him to attack, and then boom, just like that. Just pure memorization. Jump over that, land on this platform, and we duck. And there is actually a 1-up up here. Boom, extra life, very nice. We haven't died yet, which is really good. For me personally, this is the first really big difficulty spike in the game. The turbo tunnel can be tough, it can be intense. But this has like actual platforming that you have to really worry about. Nice little safe strategy here is to just punch this block right here. You punch right through the wall. And then where that barrier was is the checkpoint. So I want to try to double tap as the ice block is going in the opposite direction. I want to follow the ice block. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get hit by it. Little speedrun strat here, and I messed it up. Oh, and I messed it up again. I'm going to die. That's our first death. So you can do a little baby jump there to get over that pit, but I find that as your toad goes down slopes, he has a tendency of hopping, and when you're hopping, you can't jump because you're airborne technically. So I learned from various speedrunners to just use a headbutt going down that slope. And so ever since about 2015 or 2016, when I was first learning this game, that is the strategy I've taken. I found that that strategy works the best for me. Now we can try to get some points here, taking this as far down as we can. That was really risky. These red spiky ball things, they do kill you instantly. And those will actually smash you as well. And there's a nice little speed strategy here too. Normally you would take the top route, but what we're going to do is take the bottom route. You don't actually have to take the top route, but this is more risky. Normally that platform up top there that you can see, it'll drop you all the way down to the exit. But we can actually sort of maneuver ourselves down to the exit just like that. So that's what I do. It's a little bit, you know, less time consuming. And that top route could be a little tricky, jumping over like the moving spiky thing and getting underneath the barriers that fly up into the air. Boom, got the super toad, as I like to call it. Now, you can still actually run into those logs even though you're off the screen. The game doesn't actually know you're that high into the air, and it won't let you go over them. So you do still have to maneuver your toad by, you know, around them by using your shadow. It's kind of interesting. All right, extra life. Nice. Now, your little bounce here with your surfboard on the water is actually, I think it's fairly randomized. And so actually positioning yourself correctly for that extra life takes practice. You're not going to get it consistently, instantly. More Space Invaders thingies. Go ahead and grab one. It's not really a big deal. This boss, this mini boss that's coming up, is actually one of those bosses where you're like, it doesn't really matter if you have a full health bar or not. So I'm not really too worried about having lost a block of health. But actually, I think there's going to be some more flies that we can eat as well. So that'll be nice. I'll actually get all my health back. But the idea with this upcoming boss is to basically juggle him in a corner. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. So let's go ahead and... Oh! Wow, that headbutt did not override him. Now, if he jumps on top of you, you die instantly. Boom, boom. Alright, awesome. Just time this correctly. Now, you can also smack him up and juggle him in the air. This is something I've seen speedrunners do as well. Now, a lot of speedrunners in particular will know the exact amount of hits on that guy. I don't ever count that type of stuff. It is useful in some cases, especially if you're trying to speed through a game really quickly and, like, milliseconds matter. But I'm not that. I do like watching some speedruns just to learn more advanced techniques I might not figure out on my own. But I generally play my games normally, so to speak. Extra life up here, so push ourselves forward. Got it. We're doing really well on lives right now, actually. These mines, they will kill you in one hit. And in this version of the game specifically, they are completely random. There are some other ports of this game, like the Sega Genesis version, and they are not random. And this death is, boom, not going to count. I always love doing that if I can. Sometimes a mine doesn't line up with you correctly there, and you can't do it, but it's just fun. Again, it's one of those like little things that's just fun to do in Battletoads. You can also headbutt into these guys and then punch your way up. Doesn't do anything, it's just fun. Good for someone like me that's a little ADD and, you know, gets bored in downtime. So it gives me something to do. So this is the snake pit. This is like the make or break point for a lot of people when it comes to Battletoads, because again, this is hardcore memorization, especially the farther into the snake pit that you get. Now, if you want a warp zone, you can actually come to the top here and then just dash over and then run into that little portal, which I'm not going to do because I'm going to play through every level in this game. Playing through every level in Battletoads will take you, you know, assuming you're not dying, and having to continue, which you only get 3 of, by the way. You only get 3 continues in this game. It'll take you about an hour to go through. Like a good smooth run, losing minimal lives with no continues, will take you a little under an hour. Now, even though I'm kind of rusty at this game, I've played this game so many times over the years that whenever I fire it up for a video like this or a live stream or something like that, I usually tend to do pretty well. Because the reality is, I do play through this game several times a year, so I never go away from it long enough to where, like, I really have to relearn anything, if you know what I mean. Ooh, that was interesting. It's a lot of muscle memory, I guess. Mental and muscle. Alright. Ooh! Now, the hitbox on those spikes is generally towards the top of that object. You can actually go through, like, the slight bottom parts of those spikes. Those spike balls. Those spike clumps. And I just happened to land, like, right on the top edge of it. It actually was to the point where it looked like I probably shouldn't have gotten killed by it. But look at that type spike. I actually went through, like, the bottom part of it. Because, again, the main hitbox for it is higher up on the spike itself. So it's really good to keep in mind when you're going through these sections. They're not as dangerous as they look, I guess is the whole point, because of where the hitboxes actually are. Alright, fast snake. Another fast snake. No spikes there. We have 2 sets of spikes up there. Alright, so we jump, and then 1 spike up top, and then we're on the final section for this level. Now there's a nice little shortcut you can take on this section that makes it a hell of a lot easier. And I will show you. It's going to be on another yellow and red snake. Yellow and red pattern snake. Now this is where the snake pit gets really challenging. They have you doing some really shisty stuff here that really puts you on edge. If you have a problem with anxiety, Battletoads is probably not the game for you. You have to be able to, you know, withhold that anxiety and tension. And we're going to jump over here just like that. That's the shortcut. You jump over. Normally you're supposed to go up, ride him, and then drop down, and there's even more snakes that come out, and it's very challenging. Alright, this is the fire zone. What's interesting about these rat enemies here, even though they look like the enemies from the turbo tunnel, they actually will go down in one hit. So it's got a different sort of pacing to it. See, just like that. And unlike the turbo tunnel, you'd actually like to sit towards the top on these. You want to jump towards the top, as the gap is a little bit smaller. And we've got some logs here that we ride. I try to jump like the second I see the logs, because you'll notice that they actually don't come that close to the platforms that you're on. And some of those platforms, the hitbox on those platforms is also very weird. It'll look like you should still be sitting on them, but you won't. You'll actually fall right through them. So once you're on those platforms, just stay put. Don't try to get as close to the edge as possible, because you'll likely slip off due to, I guess, poor platform design. I'll just call it that. I'm gonna go ahead and just sacrifice a block of health. It's not gonna matter here, because one of these upcoming sections... Ooh. There we go. Oh! I got rammed. You die instantly if you run into those guys. So, but it's okay. I'm almost at another turbo tunnel style section. Really nice visual transformation here. Really awesome effects. Like, Rare was just, so good with this stuff on the NES. It was fantastic. Alright, so let's see. I don't have this 100% memorized anymore, but we'll just wing it. So for most of this, I like to sit all the way towards the back, unless I can't. There are a couple of these barriers that actually close in on you, so you need to be a little bit closer, like this. Ooh, that was really close. You gotta use your shoot-'em-up skills, where you're just dodging. Same with this part. These fireballs are actually completely random as well, and I want to say in some other versions of this game, they are actually not random. And if you hover more towards the upper half of the screen, you'll actually find yourself an extra life. So that's what I'm going to be positioning myself for. Oh, there it is. Now what's nice about 1-ups in this game, the ones that appear in the levels themselves, if you die and go back to a checkpoint, the 1-up reappears again. So if you fail this section over and over, as long as you're grabbing that 1-up, you won't actually lose any lives. And there's also a 1-up towards the top here at the end. Now, a nice little trick here, you can actually sit underneath these bottom missiles. So all you have to worry about is just dodging the top ones. It's not really even a speedrun strategy, because this section always goes at the same speed. It's just it's a safety strategy, basically. Oh, and I missed the 1-up, but that's okay. Alright, we've got this section, then I think one more. Oh, I didn't think that was gonna happen. I thought that prior one was the last one. See, that's where memorization really comes into play. I'm just kind of winging this right now. Alright, we go forward. 2, 3, and then we go back. I do remember this. And then forward, and then that's it. Alright, for this last one, I like to actually sit forward. I like to sit towards the front. Because the final barrier comes in so fast that I have to move backwards as I'm moving down. So let's see if I can predict that. I think it's this one. Boom, got it, first try. Now I remember going down, and then up, and then down, and then all the way back up, and then final one right afterwards. Woo, making good progress here, guys. Alright, so one interesting trick about this stick, and I actually learned this when I uploaded my first long play of Battletoads. When I first completed the game years ago, I had some viewers' comments on what this yellow stick does. It's actually a little bit, there's a little bit more to the eye, or more than meets the eye with this stick, I should say, if I can talk straight. Basically, yellow objects in this game can be destroyed with these yellow sticks. And that includes the fans later on in this level, and it also includes some of the gas pumps, or the gas enemies. Go ahead and get rid of that guy. You can also destroy these blobs here, which if they land on top of your head, it's a little difficult to get rid of them. They will also stall your momentum in air. Here we go, there's one, and there's another. Alright, this Zapper over here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of skip him. If I wanted to, I could headbutt for 2,000 points. I really want to keep my stick if I want to get rid of these gas things and the fans. Boom. Alright, check this out. Boom. Normally you can't do that. You have to have the yellow stick in order to do that. So the stick actually makes this level a lot easier, and a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know it for the longest time. Now this one I'm going to have to just avoid normally. Boom, just like that. Let's go ahead and get this one up. Wait for that to stop. Smack, just like that. Now, it's totally possible to get past all these things without the stick. I mean, that's how I learned how to do this level. But it really helps to have the stick. It makes your life so much easier. Alright, just wait for this yellow one to zap, and then jump up. There we go. Life made so much easier. Those gas enemies will actually kill you in one hit. There's a lot of instant death in Battletoads. Alright, we're really close to the boss fight, and I'd like to kind of come up here this way. I want to be towards the left, otherwise he can actually just land right on top of me. And the idea here is to try to headbutt over and over again. Ooh, why did I do that? I should have tried to punch. Expect to lose lots of lives on this boss, but if you can time it just right, you can actually juggle him with your headbutt. Ooh, and again, I'm probably gonna die. When you're on the ground and he shoots, when you're laying on your back on the ground and he shoots, he will always hit you. And don't let him land on you, because boom, that can happen. You can get just smushed. If you knock him up really high, you can juggle him. This is definitely my most inconsistent boss in this game, even all these years later. Boom, got it. Jump at the right time, you can actually sort of jump high into the air as he stomps on the ground. Alright, on to the Terra tubes. This is probably the hardest level in the game for a lot of players. It is so much to learn, and there's a lot that can go wrong. So for these guys right here, it's safest to just get up to them. You'll smack them into the ceiling. And you'll get some extra points too, which is nice. So I will come down here, duck. Boop. I was gonna say, I like to duck and then wait for them to attack. Now you have to be really careful about these guys though, because they're basically walking grenades. Or walking mines, I should say. If you run into them and touch them directly, you will die in one hit. I think that's the last one. And this is definitely a level where you really want to focus. If you're not focusing on this level, and you get lazy, you're going to start just kicking around randomly, and you're going to be caught off guard by a spike. Also, a fun little mechanic here, this is for reference for, later on in the level. When you're up in the water swimming, you can actually position yourself right in place just by punching. Just like this. This is going to come into play later on, but also just for fun, if you headbutt, you'll actually slide across the water if you time it just right. It's kind of fun. It's just another one of those like fun little things you can do in this game. I love when games have like little techniques like that really aren't necessary at all. It just adds to the overall personality and charm of the game. You actually move a little bit faster if you're outside of the water, and I can just headbutt over that gap. Or jump, but I like to headbutt. It's a little more stylish. So this is pure memorization here. You just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you don't know to do that, you will land on the spikes, you will die instantly, which you obviously don't want to have happen in this. The checkpoints are kind of few and far between on this level. Also, this part right here, you want to hold down the jump button as you're going through the water. This is really obtuse. I'm not sure why they did that. It took me forever to figure that out. I actually took watching someone else's Battletoads stream, and they were trying to learn the game at the same time I was, basically. Which was fun. Woo! He actually went right over me. Those goldfish are fairly random, and they like to knock you across the screen. Always avoid that gap there, because usually eels come out, and there's always an eel here. Now, we have an extra life opportunity coming up, but I think I'm going to skip it, because I've got plenty of extra lives. We've got these little sharks, and they can kill you pretty quickly, actually. Boom, got it. Whew. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to want to use... Oh, no! This is where we're going to want to use the punching underwater mechanic. And right here. Now, by design, you're probably supposed to just kind of hover like this. That's really risky. So just position yourself and then just start punching. Nice little trick there that can help people a lot, I think. Alright, come back this way. Alright, same thing again. Punch, 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 punch. Nice. Got it. Alright, this checkpoint is actually not too bad, because you always get a 1-up. Now, there are some really mean parts to this section. This is the final section in the game, by the way. Not the game, but this level. You've got these these duckies. You want to punch them once, and then they go in the opposite direction. Then you can get up behind them and combo them. Sometimes your smash attack will actually whiff on these guys, and then they'll turn around and basically kill you instantly. Some of the meanest rubber duckies in probably all of video gaming. Now, there's this little goldfish. I kind of want to bait him down this way, because he becomes a real problem on this next section. And I think I don't really have a whole lot of choice right now. He is... Let's see if he's up there. Okay, we got one of the sharks. Alright, well, hopefully the little goldfish just despawned. Otherwise, this is going to be a really tough part. Oh, no, he's still there. What a little prick. Okay, well, he's no threat. That's awesome. Whew. Okay, so we go left, and then we go right. We go left. We go right. Shark is still trying to get me, and then we come on over here. Avoid those spikes. Nice, so Terra Tubes is down. That was actually a pretty good Terra Tubes. We didn't have too much trouble there, which is kind of crazy. Usually I have some trouble there. Alright, now this level is also another roadblock for a lot of people. This is the rat race. And you basically have to race a rat all the way down this shaft. The first couple phases aren't too bad, but the third one, you've got to be very on point. One strategy is to advance a little bit ahead of him. You can smack him against these walls, you'll make him run backwards. Just back and forth, back and forth. Memorizing this definitely helps a lot. There's a bomb. Boom. Now there is a trick to actually smash him off the screen. And, oh, if I managed to get that, I would have actually knocked him off the screen and ended the level early. I don't ever get it. Let's jump. Had a feeling that would happen. Now, some people really like to just rush down as fast as possible. I like to kind of take my time. Gives me some breathing room, basically. Otherwise, this level can be really intense. And such great graphical effects, too. I mean, the NES was really capable of some really cool stuff with the, in the right hands. Now, granted, this used, I think, a fairly advanced memory mapper. And so, Battletoads would not be possible on a stock NES or stock Famicom. One of the great things about the NES and Famicom is the expandability within the cartridges themselves. Great design choice. The Super Nintendo did the same thing. And so we were able to get things like Battletoads on hardware that otherwise would not have been able to do it. But man, even still, I mean, this has always been a looker to me. Just a really fantastic looking game. Now this is where the rat usually catches up with me, and so I'll end up using the headbutt mechanic here. Just like this. Boom, just like that. Nice, first try. Awesome. Alright, on to the boss. Alright, so for the first part of this boss, I like to just punch him. Oops. Let's try this again. Okay, maybe I'll just headbutt him. Headbutt, there we go. He basically turns around, and then you smack him from behind. And he'll eventually turn back around to the other side. And for the first half of the fight, I just do some punches or kicks from behind. Don't let him land on you, otherwise you will die instantly. He'll smush you. Just like Robo-Manus, which was in the elevator shaft. And then he just speeds up and speeds up and speeds up to the point where you have to headbutt him. Wow, my Toad actually tried to pick him up too, which is interesting. I might have to actually start headbutting him. And this is a great example of how, like, much priority your headbutt has. Boom. Nice. Just like that. Alright, this is the second to last level. This is the Clinger Winger. So this requires you to hold in the direction that you're moving, and if you press any other direction, you slow down. So you have to have a very accurate D-pad on this level, otherwise this level is utter hell. I actually have a video where I tried beating this game with a quick shot joystick, and that joystick had a horrible, well, joystick. I could not pass this level because the joystick was not accurate enough. The second you start pressing in a different direction, you slow down like crazy, and this big orb catches up with you and you die instantly. Now, you need to change directions at the right time as well. It's about halfway through the turn. You know, you let your bike go about halfway, then you change direction. If you fail those directional changes, you're going to lose tons of speed. I just lost a little bit of speed right there. Now, if you do the turns correctly, you'll actually gain a little bit of speed. But there is a very long stretch later on where there are no turns. So you're locked into the current momentum that you're at, and if this thing is too close to you, it will catch up no matter what. So you've got to make sure as many turns as possible are good. And there's going to be a quick turn right here. Boom, boom, just like that. That's a memorization thing. You have to memorize that. A lot of this stuff, though, you can kind of improvise it, because you see the turns coming up far enough in advance, and boom, got it. Let's see if I can get the rhythm here for this boss. Kind of a tricky boss. Come down here, you let it go across the screen, then you headbutt. Just like that. It'll eventually start bouncing, and it'll go off the screen. Probably right now. Yep, there it goes. Just keep moving. Headbutt. Let it bounce. Headbutt again. Headbutt again. Some people like to try to pick this up and throw it, but picking this up doesn't really do. I don't even know if it does any damage. So I always headbutt this boss. Just don't get smushed, otherwise I'm pretty sure you will die instantly. Nice. First try. Alright guys, final stage. This is probably the actual hardest level in the game, and the most intense, because you're at the greatest risk of instant deaths on this level. One reason is because of these guys. They do a ton of damage to you, and so you need to make sure you're on point with attacking those guys. Also, spikes. Lots of spikes here. Extremely memorization heavy level. You've got these green disappearing platforms. If you don't do these just right, you will fall to your death as you scroll the screen up. Now, because I can earn another extra life, I like to actually headbutt these guys. You get way more points for headbutting than you do for using the stick. You know, you only get about 750 points for using the stick, but every headbutt is 1,000 points, and then the smash attack, when you defeat them, is 2,000. So I got 4,000 points total. So 5,000 more points, and I'll have myself another extra life. Which, at this point, I am not going to need these lives. This was actually a pretty smooth playthrough. Despite not being well practiced, like I kind of theorized, I've played Battletoads so much over the years that a lot of times I jump into it and I really have no issues. Unless I'm either inebriated or super tired on some kind of weird variety stream. One of those 10-hour variety streams I occasionally tend to do here. It'll actually be really interesting that I won't have rolled my score or maxed out my score. Usually I max out my score when I play this all the way through. So that's actually a really good sign of my run overall, is just based on my score. Normally I max out all the points, but nope, not on this playthrough. So I should be explaining these things. You know, you've got these green clouds. If you have the stick, like so, you can smack them as they go down. You can also headbutt them as they go down. But the stick is a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and headbutt them like that. Ooh, I missed it. There we go. I'm trying to avoid that trampoline there, that spring. Nice. Oh, that was close. I like to run with the spikes. That way they sort of slow down as you're rotating this tower. Another amazing visual effect. There's a couple of other computer games from back in the day that did this effect. And NES games. And even Atari 7800 games. Tower Toppler, aka Castellian, was a big one with this effect. But I'd say it actually looks even better in Battletoads, because Battletoads runs at a higher frame rate. It's nice and smooth here. Alright, jump straight up, just like that. We're gonna go ahead and just rotate around. Just try to jump straight up underneath this spring, just like that. Okay, so what we need to do is grab onto these. Otherwise we get blown off the tower. There's nothing else you can do about these guys. There we go. We got some disappearing platforms again. You wanna... Okay, just do that, I guess. Alright, so these ones, you need to jump up as quickly as possible the second you see them. Because this top one tends to disappear right away. Also, these little red guys, they can eat you and kill you in one hit. So be very, very careful around them. Another wind section. I don't even know if I'd call this level the hardest level. The reason, like, I have a little bit of PTSD from it is that it is just so much to learn. And it's the final level in the game. If you're trying to learn this game for the first time, you've already learned lots of other things. And it's just grueling. By the time you get here, you're like, why is this so long? I've already gone through so much else in this game. It's one of those things you just kind of have to... You've just got to get over it, you know? Alright, let's kind of smack him like that. Smack, smack, smack. Oh, he's slightly off the screen. Oh, I got him. Awesome. Yeah, when I first learned Battletoads, I was sighing so much as I was playing it. Just huffing and puffing, like, man, why did they go this far with this game? This is just too much. But once you learn it, you kind of get over it. And then it becomes really fun. It becomes like, wow, I actually mastered this crazy game that few other people have. You know, it's just... It's very easy to criticize a game. I went too early there. It's very easy to criticize a game and say, like, it's definitely too long for its own good. But then you get good at it, and you kind of come around to it. And that's kind of how Battletoads was for me. Alright, go ahead and do this again. Yeah, I can't believe I let go so early. Alright, fall down just like that. Oh, I'm gonna have to actually go up there. Yep, another platform. Now you have to press down to release from these sticks in the air. Now, when you max out your score in this, which is 999,000 points, you don't get another extra life. because it doesn't actually go over, the threshold where you would actually earn another extra life. So it's kind of a bummer. I do wish that they would let your score go higher in this game, but I do understand that, you know, it would technically be possible to grind out certain sections for infinite extra lives, although it would be very time-consuming. Probably wouldn't be worth it. I guess the developers just didn't want the players to do that, or maybe there's some other arbitrary limitation in place that wouldn't let your score go to 1,000,000. I don't know. Alright, do this again. And let's make sure we land on this platform correctly. Just to be careful in this section, I like to take my both hands off this controller, just to make sure I don't press a button by accident, which will release me. There we go. Alright, jump up to this platform. We're towards the end now. Alright, there's gonna be platforms up here. So jump, 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 jump. Just dodge the cloud. Don't let the cloud get close. This is our last one right here, guys, and we're on the final boss. Alright, jump. Got it. Alright, Dark Queen is our final boss. So you just want to headbutt. And when she gets into tornado mode, you kind of want to just avoid her. Let her go to the ground, and then headbutt again. Just like that. Also, you can sort of shimmy across the ground. Another one of those fun little things you can do. And lose lives in the process. But yeah, I like shimmying around. Thankfully, you can't actually fall off the platform here. Like, imagine if you could. That would have made this boss even harder. I mean, this actually is not a terribly difficult boss. Now, you have to be careful and not get too close to her when she's, like, doing her little jig. Otherwise, she will hit you. So there's one. Nice. Like when she comes down really close to the ground like that, and then I can still get a headbutt. She's probably almost gone, too. Right, she's gonna slam down to the ground. Headbutt. 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 Nope, she's going upwards. There we go. And again, boom, got it. Now you have to be careful, she's gonna come up from the middle of the screen, and she can still kill you. So do a little shimmy. You do this but just by holding down and then rocking back and forth. And apparently pressing directions on the D-pad actually skips cutscenes in this. I did not know that. I thought it was just face buttons. Way to go, Toads! The big guy's back, and I did not read that in time. And the Dark Queen is off, and then Battletoads and Battlemaniacs happens. Which is actually kind of weird. It actually takes place in like a digital virtual reality kind of realm. And that was a Super Nintendo game. Also, there was Battletoads and Double Dragon, which I want to say came out the same year as Battlemaniacs, if not the year after. Might have been the year after. But that's a game on NES I would love to tackle one day. When I first learned Battletoads, I went straight to Battletoads and Double Dragon. I think I got about halfway through the game, but then proceeded to get wrecked. And so, hopefully one of these years I'll get back around to that. It is definitely one I'd like to finish. For anybody curious, I've actually got a few playthroughs of Battlemaniacs on my channel. They're old playthroughs now. But if you'd like to see me going through that game, feel free to check out those playthroughs. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. I hope you guys really enjoyed this playthrough. I had fun doing this playthrough. Some of these quick plays I don't really have a lot of fun doing. I kind of forced myself to do them to pump out content for you guys. You know, it's the YouTube slog, the YouTube grind. But this was a good playthrough. I think I played pretty well and was able to talk about a lot of different mechanics. So if you're, for some reason, someone that has never finished this game, but you've always considered it, maybe this video can help you get through a bunch of different sections in the game. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel and you liked what you saw here, please subscribe. I've got a lot of videos like this, along with live streams, and many more of that type of thing to come. For everyone already subbed, thanks as always for your continued support. I really appreciate it. And I guess until the next one, take it easy.